All right, so welcome back to map 23, and today we're going to be working on chapter 2, and before that we're going to take attendance, just making sure that we are here, and again that homework 1 and 2 is posted on Blackboard. You can work on it. If you haven't submitted homework 1, please do. Okay. The late submission for homework 1 is perfectly all right. But if you don't know how to submit them, so I recommend people go to the announcement. I believe that we're going to click on the, you're going to use one of these files. So Cam Scanner, Adobe Scan, Genius Scan, Microsoft Lens. So out of that are possibly the best apps for you to convert into the PDF file. Okay, so I do have the office hours, which will be on Monday from 3:30 to 4:30. So right after class, you're gonna click on that link on Blackboard, right? Under announcement, you're gonna have the link on Blackboard, or you can click on the office hour on Zoom. So make sure that you let me know that you're joining, and I will be there for you guys if you have any questions. If you don't know how to submit the work, and so on and so forth, you can share your screen so that I can check them. If you don't know how to download the calculator, for instance, um, I recommend you do so, right? So today we're gonna take attendance, and I believe that today gonna be the day that we have to study that something on the exam. So remember, whatever that we learned on chapter 1 was the introduction of statistics. So we don't really uh, utilize a lot of definition and concept. We focus on what would be in a final exam. So that would be the main goal that I'm going to introduce you guys. And any concern before that? Any concern before we can start a lecture and and have it done? So any questions so far? All right. So for those of you who sort of wondering if you do you have this formula sheet for this class? So the answer is absolutely yes. However, I do not recommend people actually go to Map 2 and 3. So you click on Google, and then you go to BCC. You click there. So there will be a formula package, and this is the thing that we're going to use. But it's really complicated. So I don't introduce us. I don't introduce to you guys what it is until the second exam. Okay, so all of this chart and all of this table are pretty confusing. I would say that I recommend you rewrite your own formula sheet and have it downloaded on either on the package or whatever it is. Okay, so the formula sheet offered by math department will be used starting from chapter 6. Okay, so again, that we going to take the attendance. So if you're present, you can either say yes, or you just type in on screen if they call your names. So, and I apologize if I can't pronounce your name correctly. So, so the attendance is something that we're going to be working on. The late is still be 100%. It is percentage. Let's check what it is. Okay. So, uh, all right. Um, anyhow, we're gonna take attendance for first person in the classroom, I believe. If um, if I don't pronounce your name correctly, just let me know. Shayla, Shayla is here. So you can look through your names on this screen on the screen. So if I don't see you, just let me know. Okay. And next person,
Ready?
Banis.
Yeah,
Banis.
I'm here.
Fantastic. Okay. Banis, right?
Yeah.
Banis. Okay. I try to remember it, but next time we don't remember, let me know. Uh,
Okay.
all right. I appreciate it. Pramandai. Okay. So I don't see that person's. Belgium. Greener is here. I saw her here. Yeah. And Willis. Oh, let's going once. Okay, so that person's not here. Afri. Who's? Okay, so absent. Diaz. Diego. Okay, we don't see that person. And Jose Diaz.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, fantastic, sir. Amander. Amander.
Yes, it's Adam.
Adam. Okay, I didn't really see that. I apologize. That's not Adam. Adam, I'm apologize for that. Yes, barely. Fernandez. Sir? Okay, so that person. Just let me know if you're present or you came late, and then I will retake that attendance at the end of the class. Eric. Eric going once. Uh, okay, just let me know if you're present. Arlene.
I'm here.
Very good. Emily.
I'm here.
Very good. Katrina. Kat. Katrina Lewis. Okay. If you cannot speak up, just type in. I would greatly appreciate it because I saw you here for sure, but just want to make sure that I don't miss anybody. So I do. Okay, so that person's here. I'm gonna mark present for sure. And Virgin. Virgin. Okay, so that person's here. Nia. Barry. I saw that person's here. Ricardo.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. So I saw people on this. There was people using iPhone. I couldn't see them. And if I miss your name, let me know. And Ricardo. Okay, we don't have that person. And Joe. Otis. Sir. Okay, so Kimberly. Kimberly going once. Okay, so we don't have that person. And Janik. Brian's here. Okay. Steven. I got you. All right. Who else? Selena. Okay, I got you.
I'm here.
Yep, I got you. Jason. Jason's not here. Roberto. Okay, I got you, sir. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, I got you. I got you. Amber.
Here.
Okay. Melinda.
Here.
Okay. We have two Brian's here. Oliver.
Here.
Okay, and Judao. Okay. All right. So that's pretty much it, and we've finished it. I would say if you came late, just let me know. And I just saw one person coming. I just marked present for that person as well. Just making sure I don't miss anybody. So that person just came in. All right. Yeah. Any questions, sir? Brian? What's your last name, sir? Okay, so yeah. Veras. Okay. Let me just double check that real quick. Yeah, I got you, sir. I got you. So no worry about that. I got you. So whoever who was not on this day, just email me about the absence. And this is the attendance that I take. And I will fix that for those of you who did not really come on that day. So remember that having I'm sorry, going to the Zoom and be present in the classroom is really, really important because I really want you guys to study and learn because there's no test book for this class. I don't ask you to buy for anything. I just want you guys to be here. Even if you're busy, just listen to the Zoom. Maybe you can do something else, but please, if I ask you to pay attention, so this is really, really important. Okay, so this is having a class. It's not quite easy, especially during this time. I completely understand. So if you're late, I'm okay with that. I completely forgive you. But just try to be present because the course is not as simple as you expected. If you have a friend who took this course before, right, and then you will see that this is a nightmare. It's unlike out of map 5 or out of map 6 that you have the inequation and then you can solve for the problem. Okay, so this is something that we would like to have a a material that which is done on Blackboard. So I uploaded two material. One is chapter 2, and the other one is practice problem for chapter 2. So all of this content is available on Blackboard. And again, if you sort of feel like I did not pay attention enough to the classroom, but you have to be here. You can watch the lecture video again. I believe I uploaded two of them. I think I have one, but there will be another video coming very soon for that day. And the lecture note is on Blackboard. You can double check that. So the first one was August 6th. The second one will be the August 31st. Okay. Um, if you again that if you record the lecture, that's fine. But I actually record it for you guys, so you don't have to do it again. So after class, there will be the video uploaded very soon, so you can watch it again on lecture video. So you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to record it yourself unless that's necessary. For those of you, again, for those of you who have any trouble, you click on the office hour in Zoom. This is the link. It will guide you to a new link on Zoom, and I'll be there on Monday from 3:30 to 4:30. So this is the timing that you should be able to ask me any question that you have, or let's say you have any concern with the notes or with the lecture that you miss. Go on that day on Monday and ask me the question. So, but make sure that you email me before because I don't want to have so many people sitting in classroom with a lot of lectures with a lot of questions. So I want to go one by one person. If all of you have a same problem or you want me to go over it, the material, I'm more than happy to do so. Okay. So this is the thing. Another thing that I really want you guys to do is to upload and to download the calculator TI-83. The reason why I don't want you guys to use a physical calculator because it might run out of battery in the middle of the exam, in the middle of the quiz, in the middle of the lectures or homework problem, unless you want to deal with that. Okay. So for our class today, we're going to be working on chapter 2. So this is a new chapter that you can see the lectures literally under the content section. You can download it. It's very easy to download, and there will be some practice problem as well. So this is what the lecture looks like, but we only cover the first part of it. Okay, so we ignore the rest of them, except you guys want to read through all of this. Okay, there are more, but I cut out almost like 2/3 of that. We only cover a very small part of it. So this is what we call the comparative bar chart. So this is where we have the chart looks like this. So this is how we're going to organize the data set and put it on a chart. You can see, for instance, by looking at this, I have some feeling that Scala has the highest frequency for that, and the bear claw it has the lowest frequency. So this is where the chart going to tell us. So we have different regions and so on and so forth. Okay, olive will be the second best, and you can actually see those. Okay. So this is what the bar chart look like. So what is the bar chart? The bar chart will consist of um, two categories. So one will be called the category. So one will be the names of that, and then another one will be called the frequency. So the frequencies have to be very usual in this class. Will be on the vertical axis. So the categories or the names would be on the horizontal axis. So if you ask me, there is another way that we can do so, or we can twist it. We can have the vertical on the names and then horizontal on the frequency, depending on how you look at it. Okay. So people also said that we can use chart to trick people. That is so true. The reason behind that is the following examples. This is not going to be taught, not going to be on the exam, but why the bar chart is pretty impressive that people can utilize the information that they have and mislead you to something that you believed to. Okay, so the different. So the bar chart different depending on how you look at it. Okay, so for instance, I want you to look at the salary of the people who graduated from PCC. So let's say we have the chart like this. Okay, so we only have a male and female, for instance. So before I sketch the bar chart, usually in terms of X and Y. Okay, so this is X will be called the gender. Okay, and Y will be called a frequency. Okay, hours in this case. Okay, K hours, $1,000. Okay, so just for instance, and you sound a little bit low because I actually had to drop down the microphone so that I can draw them and do a little bit easier for me. Sorry, I apologize for that. If it sound a little bit low, and make sure that you turn on the speaker for that. And so this is $1,000 for instance. And so assuming that we have the female, it go like this, okay? And then the male is go like that. Okay. Yes, I will repeat what it is, but generally this is what we're going to be working on. And this is for instance female, and this is for male, okay? So what's going on for that part is I start from 0, and this is for instance 65K, okay? And on the other hand, on the bottom was, so this is 50, okay? 52, and this is 64. All right, so it looks really cool when you look at this chart, but what's going on for this is whenever I draw the pictures like this, okay? Pretty much the same thing, except for the fact that now instead of starting from 0, I make the chart started from 50K, okay? Started from 50. And now the male is no longer have 52K because we started from 50, and there should be 52K right there, 2K, right? 52. And we go up to, for the female was 64. Right? And this is thousands of hours. Thousands of dollars. Okay. Where is it, right? And this is the gender again. This is what we're supposed to be working on. And I would put them there like that. And then we have the female and male. Right. So they basically have the same thing, except for the fact that one start from 0, so we can see that the income difference are not that big. Another thing is when I start from 50K, and so the categories will be on the x-axis, which is the horizontal axis. The frequencies or any something that we want to compare will be on the horizontal axis. Okay, so this is the bar chart versus the gender and then the income being made between these two genders. So the first one that we have is 64. And I mean, they are the same thing, but you can look at this and then you sort of feel like female actually dominate the male salary, but this is not true. Okay, so depending on how you're going to look at that. So that's important. So this is one way that we can, that people can mislead us from thinking, saying that there's a big gap, there's a big discrepancy between, male one, female one, that category. But this is not true. Just depends on how we look at it. Okay. So so this is what we'll be working on. So there's so many ways that we can collect the data set. Okay. So the first thing, there are actually a lot of them. Something that we skip, for instance, the bar chart for quantitative data set. Let's say we collect a number of data that we learned from chapter 1. There was 2 types of data set. One will be called qualitative and one equal quantitative. So the quantitative data set, let's say we collect a number of the favorite colors. So for instance, we have 27 people, and then so each person going to give us like different favorite colors, and after that we can collect the number of frequencies, and then we can make a chart like this. But this would not be covered on the exam. You collect a number of times that blue appear once and red appear one. The number of red appear, number of orange appear, yellow, green, pink, and purple. So you can name them. So each time that they have the same color, they have the same favorite color, then we collected one. So let's say we have 10 people favorite blue and 3 favorite red and 1 favorite orange, 3 yellow, 5 green, 3 pink, and 1 purple, for instance. So this is how they make them. So one's for frequencies and the other one for a favorite color. But we're not going to talk too much about that because this is not what we're going to focus on. What we'll be focused on is how we're going to collect the quantitative data sets. Okay, so this is the way that we're going to do so. So what is the quantitative data set? The quantitative data sets, as I mentioned earlier, like from chapter 1, will be related to numerical data sets, right? So quantitative data, basically numerical data set. So this not quite easy to collect them because of the fact that we going to numerical, I apologize, numerical, because of the fact that they have different numbers on the data set. So for instance, I'm going to give you one big example, how we're going to do it. Okay, so we have 10 student grade uh, on the exam 1. Okay, so now I'm going to give you a bunch of data set from the sample that I collected. So there will be people who got 60, 70, 85, 95, 100, 100, right? And 96, and what else? 72, and um, 58, for instance. No, I'm sorry, 52. It's easier. And what else? So we can have like 74 and 81, for instance. So we have 10 different data sets. I'm going to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's always important that we're going to have a list of the data set, and then all of these numbers, of course, they're a different number, but again, that we have to set up a certain range for it. So what's going on for this? What are we trying to do for this kind of thing is we have a bunch of data set ranging. So this is what we call the range. The range meaning that I want to figure out the range for the entire data set. So the smallest number that we can see right there is 52, correct? And then the biggest number that we have on the list is 100. Okay, so this is the range. Okay, this is a range. So let's say we have a million data set. We cannot have like a million capacity for that, or we cannot have a million classes or categories. So that's impossible, right? Unlike the color problem that we just have a look at it, so we can have like blue, red, green, so all of that, we can have a limited category. So in this case, I give you 10 student grade on the exam. You cannot divide it into 10 different categories. That will be too much. So in fact, this is the range that we're going to divide to, right? So this is the range, this is what it looks like. Okay, so the range that we have, so we're gonna do the math. Let's say we have 52
subtract from 100. So we're going to use a calculator for this class. And the reason why we use calculator, because it's available on Blackboard and it doesn't cost some money. That is a good thing, unless you want to have a physical calculator, so that even nicer for this. If you don't have the WinRAR, make sure that you're going to download it, and so that you can open the files coming from that app. So that's important. It took me a while for this as well. Okay, so I want to start a calculator real quick. This is the calculator that I usually ask you to use. It's very easy to do it. And so I can have, and I open a lot of calculator. Maybe I need one of them, I don't need two. So I close one, and this is the calculator that I will be using for this class. So now we're going to be working on that example. So between 100 minus 52, right? Minus 52, so we take 100 minus 52, I get 48, okay? So the range for the entire data set is 48. So let's say I want to divide it into 4 different categories. So why 4? Because I want 4. We can have more, but I feel like 4 should be good enough. Okay, so we can have 5 classes. We can have like 10, but 10 actually too much. You only have 10 data sets, right? You don't want to be too specific about a certain classes that you want to fall into. You want to have that into it. So let's say if we only have 2 classes, so I'm going to split that into half and half. That will be the difference. Yeah, exactly. So the range will be the difference between the biggest and the smallest data set. So the range will be the biggest minus the smallest. So we can't have this formalism right there. So it's just right on the bar chart quantitative. So this is a thing that we have to be responsible for on the exam, and make sure that we don't skip this part. Okay, so the range will be the smallest. Subtract from the biggest number, so we can have the smallest is 100 and minus 52, and we got 48. So this 48, I'm going to divide it into like a small pieces, right? Maybe I want to divide it into 4 pieces because it's easier. I don't feel like I draw the pieces equally, but they have to be equal pieces. So I apologize for my handwriting and for my drawing skill picture. So it doesn't look like 4 equal pieces. So making sure that when we divide them, we have to be equal to 4 equal pieces. So that's important. It doesn't seem to be equal, but that's fine. All right. So meaning that I have different class. And so the first class will be here, and then this is second class, this is the third class, this is the fourth class. The class will be the number of categories that shows on the horizontal axis. This is what we call classes right there. For instance, this is what we call classes, okay? So what is the classes? The class basically an interval that ranging from a certain, that have a certain class width, a certain range for that. So this is first class. Okay, this is class number 1. And this is class number 2. And this is class number 3. And this is class number 4. Okay. So can we make it 5 class? Yes, so we can divide it a little bit smaller pieces, so we can have 5 equal classes, okay? So each class, they should have the same range, they should have a same equal part. So that part is called class width, okay? Class width. All right, so just want to be a little bit slow for all of us. So the class width will be what? The class width will be this range. So let's say between 52 to a certain things, right? So the class width is here. So we have 4 equal class width for this. So how can we figure this out? So the class width will be taking the range, in this case is 48. Okay, so, and then we divide it. What should we divide? So we have to divide it by 12. I'm sorry, by 4, I apologize, because we want to have 4 classes, right? Why do we have to divide by 4? Because I want to have 4 classes, right?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Um, why are we taking the 48?
Why we take 48? Because that will be the range of the entire data set. You don't want to have started from 0, correct? We can't start it from 0 from to 100, because if I started from 0 to 100, the range will be 100, but there'll be no data set being captured from 0 to 51. So we ignore that. So 48 will be the range for the entire data set that we have. In this case is between 52 and 100, right? So this is the range that we are interested in. Other than that, we don't care. For instance, I don't care the range between 0 to 51, because there's no data set. There's no grade of the students' exams on it. So that's the reason why I take 48 and then we divide it by 4. So that will be the entire range of this data set over 4.
Question. Where
Yes.
did you get that 48 from?
The 48 will be the range of a data set. So that will be the difference between the biggest and the smallest number.
Oh,
Yeah, right there. So we only interested in this range. Why is that? Because all data set capture on that range. So that's important. Okay, so 48 will be the range over the number of classes. So in this case, I want 4 classes. So meaning that I have to divide it by 4. If the question says that they want to have 5 classes, then we have to divide it by 5, and then those pieces should be smaller. Are we good? Okay, so when we do the math, we're going to take 48 over 4. And over is right there. Divide by 4. So there'll be a little dash right there on the calculator. So we can see that the answers for that is 12. Okay, do we agree? 12. All right. Okay, so now again, the chart have to be done on the table. So remember, table is super important. There was some situation that people only look at the table, which is called a frequency table, and then we can know what kind of data set that we're looking for, what kind of information that people get. Okay, that's important. So the table will be really, really important. Okay, so on the exam, you only require to give me this and that. That's it. You don't have to draw me a picture like this. I just want to show you that I want to have like 4 different classes. So how can we make the chart for this? This is what we call the frequency chart. So this is what we call the classes, and this is what we call a frequency. Okay. Okay. So the frequency will be the number of data set that fall within the range of each class. Okay. So in this case, I need to have, so the class width is 12, so we have to add 12 for each part of it, and then we can set up the range. So this is add 12, right? And let me just do that again. So the 12 doesn't look like the number that I'm looking for. Add 12 for this. And add 12. And add 12. Are we good? So which class should we get started? So we have to start from the smallest number. So this is the first class. Have to start with the smallest number. So that would be 52. Are we good? And now I have to add 12. So I'm going to do the math right there. So 52 plus 12. If we can do the math on this, is easy. So that'll be 64. Then we can do it. So 52 add 12, I got 64. So the endpoint that we have for this class is 64. Right, so this is the first class that we just established. So 64 is right there. So this is the ending point for the first class. So the next class have to start one number bigger. But why can't we solve a 64? Because let's say we have one person. No, they're not a same. It is not. It is not a quartile. This is more like the quartile is different definition in terms of percentage. They're different things. This is in terms of range. Must have the same range for that. Yeah, upper and the lower class limit is.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, why is it 52 minus 64?
52 up to 64. It's not minus. This is up to.
Okay.
This is up to for that. So we got our. So the class, each class had a certain range. So the range that we have will be starting from the first will be the smallest data set. The first one will be the smallest data set is 52, up to 64, up to 64. Okay. And now what is the next class? So the next class had to be one number bigger than 64. Do we agree? It is the ratio of a student.
65 through 77.
Yeah, you give me some time for that because we have people still asking the questions. Is this the ratio of student in class one? This is not the ratio. This is the range of the first class. Okay, so and after we set up the range correctly, we're going to have to throw in the data set into each range that we set up. So that's important. So the next class should be one number that bigger than 64. The reason why we cannot have 64, because if we put 64 right there, and one student grade has the score 64, we don't know where we should put that into, right? Should we put it in the first class or should we put it in the second class? We don't know that. So it's always better that we increase by one. So we start from 65, so we increase by one, okay? So we can put them down. When we start the next class, we have to increase by one up to, remember, this is not subtract, this is up to, so 65, and then we add 12. So this is something that we don't have to do it on the exam. So we just, I know what it is. You just need to do it outside of your scrap paper or whatever you want to, right? So up to 77. So this will be the second class that we take into account. So the range for this is 65 up to 77. All right, so 65 up to 77. I'm going to put them down right there. 65 up to 77. Okay, and the next class have to be no, 65 up to 77. I'm not sure why I put that 66 for some reason. So this is 77. And then after that, the next class should be a number bigger than 77. So it should be 78. And then we add 12, which is 90, right? So how can we do that, the math? So we take 78, we plus 12, and then we got 90. So make sure that we do all of these calculations on a calculator because I don't want you guys to do it by hand so that I can make mistakes on it. Just double check. 52 plus 12, I got 64. That's correct. So 65 plus 12, because we have to add 12 for each class. They're equally, they're equal part of this. So 77 and then 78 plus 12 is 90. So I want you to guarantee that all the math that I done is correct. And so the third class have to be between 78 and 90. So again, that we cannot have 90 in a third class. On the last class, so we have to be started from 91 because it has to be one number bigger than that. And then we add 12. Okay, so 91 plus 12, we should have plus 12. And we got a 103. Okay, so why we have like three number bigger than 100? Because each class after we go to the next one, we have to increase by one. So we increase by 3, so that should be a little bit bigger than 100. So that is 103. Okay, so but that the whole point is not like, well, I want to get exactly 100 because if I get more than 100, that doesn't matter, right? That's fair. That's fine. Okay, so in this case, that I go from 61 up to 103. Okay, up to 103, and that will be the last class range. Are we good? So we set up these 4 classes. So remember, the difference between each class have to be the same, and they are equal to 12. Okay, so I got one person raise hand. Yes, you can ask me the questions right now.
So the frequency would be how many numbers is in between 52 and 64?
Correct.
For
And
example, it would be 2, right?
what is it? Can you tell me what it is?
2.
2. I'm going to use different marker to pop them
12.
out. So that will be
The frequency will be 2 because it's
52 and
two numbers between 52 and 64, right?
just 52 and 60, correct?
Yes, those are
So
the
we're
two
gonna put
numbers.
them down as 2. Very good, very good. So the 2 will be the number of the score, the number of the score that fall within this range. So let's say I got 2 grades from a student, one is 52 and one is 60. And they fall between 52 and 64. So that would be 2 frequencies on the first class. Are we good? So the next class, I'm going to use different markers to draw them.
Wait, can you say that again?
Okay, so let's say we have 2 score that fall within this range, which is 52 to 64. So they are 52 and 60. So since there are 2 of them, I have 2 frequency. Are we
Oh,
good?
so
Yeah.
the amount of numbers that fall between.
That fall the number of the data set that fall between the range. So we call sure. Yes. Questions, Rob?
Yeah, I just wanted to know. I'm following everything. I just don't know where the 4 came in, the 4 classes.
Oh, this is
Is that a
I
number?
want to have 4 classes. Usually it coming from the questions. You will
Oh,
see
and
what
this will be given in any question, right?
exactly have to be given. It
Okay.
have to be given. Yeah. If that is not given, you get full credit on that questions for sure. Okay. If you want to divide it to 5 classes, so that'll be 48 over 5. The class width should be smaller because I want to divide into like 5 equal pieces. So that's not going to be plus 12 anymore. It depending on how many classes that we want to get started. There were some scenario that people only want to have 3 classes, but I want to be more specific. I want to see that the range type, for instance, how many people got like between B minus to A minus, and how many people got an A minus to A plus, for instance, right? So we can see them immediately if we have more classes being divided. But let's say we have like only 2 classes, so you might have to start from 52 up to 80, and then from 80 up to 100, whatever. So it does not tell you a lot of information. You see what I'm saying? So the table is to be made to tell the reader what's going on from a data set. So in this case, how many data sets between 65 and 77? We're going to count them. So any data set that is bigger than 65 and smaller than 77 will be captured. So in this case, we got 70. Do we agree? We got 70. And we got 72, I believe. We got 74. Right? Do we have anything else? So how many data sets being captured for the second class? So we have 1, 2,
3.
and 3. So we're gonna call we're going to have 3 frequencies. Okay, 3 frequency for the second class. So similarly, that we're going to count how many data sets that is bigger than 78 but smaller than 90. So can I use different marker for that? I'm going to, so we're going to have 85, correct? 85 and 81. So we also have 2 of them. Do we miss anything else? No, right? Sure. So I use different marker for this. And finally, how many data set that's fall within this, that fall within 91 and 103? So we get 3 of them, right? So I'm going to use a different marker, and I will use this. So we have 95. It doesn't look like it. I don't like this color. I might use this one, orange, green. Okay. So you have 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so there will be 3 data sets that fall between 91 up to 103. So the total is important. Sometimes you want to see the total of the frequencies and making sure that they add up to the number of the data set. So the total in this case that we can have them, we take 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus 3, get 10 of them. So this have to be equal to that one. So they have, because we have 10 students, so the total frequency that we have should be 10. They have to be equal to each other. Are we good? Are we good for that? So now we're going to make a chart. So we're going to make a chart. Remember, the frequency table will be the most point that we're going to get on the exam. The chart may be, let's say the question was 15 points. So the chart going to be, let's say 3 or 4 points, maybe 3 points. Okay, so the rest of the work will be on the computations for the range and then the class width. If you calculate this correctly, you're going to get 4 to 5 points. And if you make the chart correctly, you're going to get another 6 to 7 points. And then the chart going to cost us around 4 points on the,
Wait, on the exam?
yeah, on the exam.
Okay.
I kid you not, this is going to be on the exam. I told you exactly what topic on the exam. Are we good? So I call this as grade, right? Do we agree? The number of grades. And so remember, the frequency very likely to be on the vertical axis. So can we do the other way around? The answer is yes, but please just stick to the way that I show you. If you do the other way around, I don't take away point, but if you get it wrong, I still take away point. It's very easy to mess them up. So the frequency will be on the vertical axis. The horizontal axis will be the number of grade. So there are 2, 3, 2, 3. So I'm going to use a bar, right? 2, 3, right? 2 and 3. It doesn't look like the same thing because of my drawing skill. Okay. All right, so 2, 3, 2, 3, and then we're gonna call them. We're gonna put them down, making sure that you're gonna put this 2, 3, 2, and 3. Okay, so you might have different color. You don't have to, right? But I can do it right there. Not sure. Okay. All right, are we good? So to be more specific, I would like to call, usually that we have to put them down 52 and 64, 52 and 64, 65 and 77, 78 and 90, 91 and 103. But just in case that you don't want to do it that way, okay, because I got sick of those. I don't want to write too much for that, but you can definitely gonna do that, right? So I just call this as A, right? I call my first class as A, my second class as B, my third class as C, and then my last class as D. So I call this as A, B, C, D, right? Instead of I put them down between 52 and 64, 65 to 77, 78 to 90, 91 to 103, I call A, B, C, D. Are we good? But you can definitely going to do that on the exam. But I don't have enough space to put them down for those numbers. Are we good? So let's look at the one of the practice questions. I would say I'm going to do some of them, and there will be the homework after that. So let's do question number 3 on the list and see what's going on for that. Okay. So this is number 3 on the practice question. Okay, so this should be working. All right, let me just pose the questions right there. Oops, and okay, it's not working. It doesn't seem to be working. Let's just take the screenshot for that. And all right, so this is the thing that we have for the questions, and then copy and paste so that easier. All right. So this is the question that we have on the practice questions. So remember that you don't have to do those questions, but we're going to do it. We're going to practice that. All right. So what is the first step that we have to deal with? The first step that we're going to compute, we're going to calculate a range. Well, so what is the range of the entire data set? We have 25 people regarding the TV habit. So how many hours that they watch TV per week, and there were 25 people who were willing to participate in that survey, and the number that ranging from 30 to 53 hours, right?
23.
So we're gonna take 53 minus 30, and we got 23. So this question was easy because we can see that the biggest number is right there, right? And the smallest number is here. So, so this question was relatively simple because we don't really have to use a lot of vision, a lot of eye vision to read that. So we can see through all of that. So this is the biggest, right? So after we identify the biggest and the smallest number, the next thing that we have to read is very important that we're going to read that, right? Four classes. So the question asks us to have 4 different classes. That's important on the exam. So we gotta be careful with this, and then making sure that we can open our eyes a little bit bigger, because I know most of you have really big eyes. And even though I haven't seen your face, but there will be 4 classes that the question wants. So when we try to determine the classes with, this is what we have to be doing, right? So we're gonna take 23 and divide it by 4, because I want to divide all of these chunks into 4 equal pieces. So 23 over 4. Okay, on a calculator, I'm going to take 23 divided by 4. I got 5.75. Okay, 5.75.
How you get 23?
We're going to take the biggest number, subtract the smallest number. Yeah, so that would be the range. So we need to identify what range that we have to look at. So the persons who watch the least 30 hours and the most 53 hours. Okay, so that would be the range. So the 30 to the 23 will be the biggest, subtract the smallest, and then after we do these calculations, I got 5.75, correct? 5.75. But remember, the class width cannot be in terms of the decimal number, that we have to round off a little bit. So when we round off, so that becomes 6. That becomes 6. Okay, so 6. So this will be the number that we're going to use to make a chart, to make a table. So this is really important because I want to have 4 different classes. Yes?
I just wanted to be clear. The class width can never have a decimal?
Never have a decimal number, because you don't want to have the class start from 30 and then we add 5.75. So that'd be 35.75. That's weird. You want to have them to be the whole number. You want to simplify things so that the reader can read it a lot easier, right? So you try to make things easy for reader to read your work, right? So it's always better that we're gonna have to round off for the class width. You round up to 6 in this case, and then so this again that we're gonna do here will be the classes, and this one will be the frequencies. If you ask me, do we have to draw a picture like this? Like a, I'm sorry, frequencies? Do we have to draw a picture like that?
Question.
The answer is absolutely no. You don't have to draw like between 52 up to 100, something like this. You don't have to do so. All right. Let me just read that. Is the class width same as the class size? No. The class size that we have here, we have 4 classes, right? We only have 4 of them. Okay, the class width will be the same range for each class when we count them. So we have 4 classes. So the first class that we call number 1, and number 2 is up to you, and number 3 and number 4 right there. Okay, so we're going to start with the smallest number of each class. So what is the smallest number that we have? So for the first class, it will be equal to 30, correct? We're going to use 30. Okay, am I going too fast for this? And then after we get the 30, we're going to add 12, I'm sorry, add 6, because so that would be the class width. So they have to be the same, right? They have to be the same as for each class. So 30 plus 6, we got 36, correct? So 30 up to 36. Okay, so we can do the math right there. If you don't want to have any calculations mistakes on it, so 30 plus 6, I believe that would be 36. So we're going to add this. You're going to add the class range. Remember that class range, in order to figure out the class range, you have to take, first of all, take the smallest value of the data set. You add 6, you get 36. And now the next class will be jumping down to one number bigger than the previous class. So if this guy adding the ending point, which is the lower, which is called the upper class limit, so it should be one number smaller than the starting point of the second class. So in this case, so we're going to take from 37, and then we're going to add 6 one more time, so they can have the ending point for this. 37 plus 6, and we can see that this is equal to 43. Right? And try not to do all of these computations by hand, because we have a fancy calculator. So
Wait, you round it?
37 plus 6, we got 43. Okay, so the ending point for the second class is 43. So can somebody tell me what is the next class going to be? What are the value for the next class?
44.
44, and then we add 6.
49.
No, 44 add 6 is 50, correct?
Yeah, my fault.
Yeah, so you got to be really careful for that, and that's important, because if you add the wrong number, then you're going to get point taken away on the exam. So 44 plus 6, and you got 50. So making sure that we are doing that right. So if you don't have to write them down on this. This is optional staff, right? Make sure that we don't have to put them. You don't have to do like 30 plus 6, but the reason why I'm doing so, because I want to make sure that people don't make mistakes on the exam. Okay, so similarly, the next class should be one number bigger than 50, so that'll be 51, and then we go down there. 57, very good. So remember, making sure, you have to make sure that the last class, the ending point of your last class, is able to cover 53, which is the biggest data set values, then we're good to go. If that doesn't, then we have to double check your calculation. You need to figure out why it's not the thing, and why it's not covering the last data set. All right, so I'm going to use a different marker for the counting for this. So how many data set between 30 and 36? So we need to make sure that any data set from that is bigger than 30 and smaller than 36 will be captured on the first class. So we have this. We have 1, 2, 3, 4,
I have a question.
5. Yes.
Um, as you can see, the 36 is repeats, right? The week. Um,
Then we count twice. If they repeat it twice and count twice,
okay. So it's gonna
yeah,
be the frequency gonna be 5.
yeah, that'll be
All right.
5. It cannot be 4 because we need to count the number of people, right? So, and apparently there will be some people who watch more than 30. 30. We have the same people who watch the same hours per week. That's usual. So if we have a repeated data set, we just count it more. It's okay to have more than one. So just count it twice. You have 3 repeated data set. You can just count 3 times, and so on and so forth. Yep. Questions?
Yeah, so the frequency numbers, they should all add up and equal the amount of people who are
Yeah,
observed.
the number of people who observe. That's correct. So this is what we need to check the work at the end.
Okay.
Okay, so in this case, so I'm going to put that this is 5. Hopefully that this not going to hurt your eyes a little bit. If that color hurt your eyes, I'm going to change that to the next one. So how many data set that watch the TV between 37 to 43 hours? So any data set that is bigger than 37 and less than 43 will be counted. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so there were 9 of them, and making sure that we got it right. There are 9 of them. Okay, and how many data sets that fall between 44 and 50? So 44 and 50 that we can see them through the screen. Can you use different marker for that? Yes. So 44, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 of them, right? So there was also 9 of them. Okay, so last part, I'm going to use the black one so it's easier. How many data set that fall between 51 and 57? So we have 1 and 2. Okay, so we have 2 of them. And it's always good because if you don't check them, I would take your point if you miss any data set being not collected. So the total number of the people will be the total of the frequency that we have right there. So we're going to add them up. 5 plus 9 plus 9 plus 2. And the answer for that is 25. Are we good?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If let's just say the class width had ended up being 5.25, would we be rounding down to 5, or are we always to round up to the next integer?
Oh, yeah, that is actually a very good question. Usually in the previous semester, I usually ask you to always round up. Because why do we have to round up? Because once you round up, you want to guarantee that the last data set, the last ending point, which is 57, is able to cover the biggest data set. Let's say, for instance, that we round down to 5 instead of 6. So you might end up getting a certain classes, which the last class, which will not be able to cover the last data set. So routing up is safe and it's essential. But remember that we always increase by 1. So after we go to the next class, so after the first class, we go to the next class, we increase by 1, and next class we increase by 1, and then we increase by 1. Usually, the last class should be able to beat this guy for sure, 100%. So if you get 5.25, if you round down, in this scenario, I do not take away point. But in the early semester, I will, because I need to make sure that you guys, we have the range, we want to make sure the range is safe enough to cover the last data set. If you miscollect the data set, then of course it is the wrong table, it's the wrong chart. It's okay to round up, but it's also okay to round down in this case. Okay, so if you have 5.25 and then you want to round out to 5, I give you full credit for that. But if you round up to 6, I'm sorry, if you round up to 6 and then you start your class, It's look a little different, but I still give you full credit for that. Are we good?
Yes, thank you.
All right. So because when you route out to 5, let's say 5.25 route out to 5, it should be okay to cover everything. But if that doesn't cover everything, you have to start the question over again. So that will be a thing. So it's always safe to route up. And now we're going to make a bar chart. The bar chart should be, again, we have, how many classes do we have? We want 4 classes, correct? So the frequencies have to be on this. And this is the classes. This is, I would say, the number of people, right? The hours of watching TV. So I just put down hours. And we're going to have 4 bars. So we have 5. We have 9. We have 9. And we have 2 of them. Okay. So, and then I'm going to mark with different colors. So this is brush. No, I'm sorry. This is fill. This is fill. This is fill. And this is fill. Okay. And then we have this guy is 5, 9, 9, and 2. All right. And then we call this is the first class. I call 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, because I call this as the class right there. So it's perfectly okay. I call 1, 2, 3, 4. Know what it is. So the class 1 is the range between 30 and 36. The class 2 will be the range between 37 to 43. The third class is 44 up to 100. I'm sorry, 44 up to 50. And then the last class will be 1 to 57. All right, are we good? Are we good for that?
So on the test, can we label them A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3,
Yeah, 1, 2,
4?
3, 4. You can label the first class as Tom, the second class as Jerry, whatever you want to. Okay, as I can see what it is. Or maybe you want to put them down as 30 to 36, and 37 to 43, 44 to 50, and 51 up to 57. That's perfectly okay as well. So now we're going to have the homework problem done, and this is done as well, right? So the step how to solve for this problem is really important. I'm gonna put down a step before I let you go. The step number 1, the step, okay? Step for chapter 2 for bar chart. So make sure they put them down. So the first step, we need to read the questions, identify the number of classes, right?
Wait,
Identify.
this is for the homework? This is for the homework?
Oh, this is for the step. The homework is on Blackboard. Identify the number of classes.
Oh, the steps for the homework.
Yeah, the step for the chapter 2. Okay, so in this case that we can read them, there will be 4 classes, but there will be some question they ask us to do 5 classes. There will be some question they ask us to do 6 classes. I feel 6 class, that would be too much for that. So usually 4, 5, and 6. 4, 5, or 6, right? There will be 3 classes that we have. Second, we're going to identify the biggest and then the smallest data set, right? Identify the biggest and the smallest data set. And the
Mami,
biggest
trae el
and
celular para acá, que es lo que estoy yendo ni viendo, ¿ven?
oh,
Pero ven, porque tú no ves que no tengo internet.
okay, I got to mute. Yes, biggest and smallest data set. So we need to make sure that we take the range correctly. So we're going to compute the range. I'll compute the class width. So the class width will be compute a range first. The range will be the biggest subtract the smallest. And after that, we're going to compute a class width. Right? So how can we do the class width? We're going to take the range over the number of classes. Right? So let's say the questions ask us to do 4 classes, then we have to divide it by 4. 5 classes, then we have to divide it by 5, but all those 2 examples, we are always divided by 4. So after that, we then go to the next step. After we compute a range, after we compute a class range, we're going to set up a table, right? Set up a table, the table, the frequency table. Okay, and then we're going to start the smallest values. The smallest value will be on your first class. Is on the first class. And finally, that we're going to, collect the frequency, right? Collect the number of frequencies and put it on a chart. And finally, that we're going to make a bar chart. And that's pretty much it. Are we good? Okay, so we're going to box this right there.
Oh, wait, let me just finish writing that down.
Okay, so first of all, those slides on Blackboard, and that's pretty much the thing that we have to do. So if you haven't finished it, I'm going to upload a slide on Blackboard, and that's pretty much the thing that we need to do. But when we come back on Wednesday, we're going to finish chapter 2, and then we have to start chapter 3. Remember,
Do we have homework?
the homework due next Tuesday. I'm sorry, next Monday.
This upcoming Monday.
But today is Wednesday.
no
I
school.
usually make it like next Wednesdays. I feel like that's going to be good enough. We have a week to do the homework problem. I feel like that's good enough for us, right? So it will be due next Wednesday. Are we good?
Is the homework about this?
There'll be 2 questions for that, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so there'll be 2 questions that'll be due next Wednesday. Make sure that we're going to do it because it's part of your grade. Are we current? Are we good? Okay, so those slides will be uploaded on Blackboard. How can we figure out the slide in the video? So remember the lecture notes. Remember all of this will be the class lecture. For instance, we click on lecture note number on 31st. You can see that this is what being covered. On Monday, let's say click on lecture 5. That was the slide that we have, and then whatever the information that we missed, you can always go back to the lecture note to see it. If you missed the video, for instance, I also uploaded on Blackboard. You can also double check that as well. Okay, the video for this. All right. So anyone who was here and was not on the attendance and making sure. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was having a little bit of trouble with my Wi-Fi in the beginning, but I'm here now, Professor.
All right. So if you have the Wi-Fi trouble, you can rewatch the lecture videos on Blackboard under the lecture under the slide. So click on lecture videos. We can have the Wednesday videos, and we also have the Monday videos and this Wednesday videos. Yeah. And for those of you who was late for the class, and if you missed the class, and making sure that we're going to take attendance again. Other than that, you guys can log off and have a great weekend. I'll see you guys back next Monday.
Is it class Monday?
Is it? Let me just double check. It should be no class because
I think
of
it's Labor Day.
the Labor Day.
Labor Day.
Yes. So if
Labor Day.
all right, so you guys look so excited because we have a Labor Day. So let me double check the schedule real quick. So I'm gonna go to BCC and then for 2020 calendar. I want to make sure that we do not we do not have to be on Zoom because of the Labor Day. Yes, there's no class next Monday, so we're gonna see each other again on Wednesday, meaning that this homework will be postponed until the following Monday, which is on September 14. Are we good? Are we good? So this homework, the second homework will be postponed until September 14.
All good.
All good. Okay. So I need you to take attendance. For those of you who did not take attendance at the very beginning of class, and you just type in yes, you're present, and I will double check the work for you guys. Okay, so yes, Billy Fernandez, right there. I got you. Anyone else? Jodali. Let me double check that. Yeah, so you're present. Anyone else? Eric? Okay. Anyone else? Ricardo? And okay. Anyone else? Uh, here, Nunes. I got you. I got you already. Anyone else? Remember that if we only take into account of people who did not take attendance, Kimberly. If you took it already, so you don't have to call. You just lock off, and I'll see you guys next Wednesday. Remember, there will be no class on Monday. Jason's, I got you. Okay, Kimberly. Did I got you?
Professor.
Yeah.
I believe you put up homework for us to do to complete.
You can complete them, but the due date will be on the following Monday on September 14.
Oh, okay, okay. My other question is, if you have accommodations, do I send you an email?
If you if if you want to ask for what?
If I have accommodations.
Absolutely. So you have to send me an email, which means that you will be allowed to have 2 hours on the exam instead of an hour and 50 minutes.
I think I have more than that, but okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna send you an email.
You have 1.5 more hours, more time than the other people. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So I already took the attendance. If you were present, did not take it, let me know. I'm sorry. All right. So you guys have a great day.
Attendance for the other days?
No, I did not take it. This is the first day that we took attendance because this point is on. It's going to be on the exam, so I have to take it. All right. So you guys are going to have a great day, and then have a wonderful weekend, and we're going to see each other again next Wednesday on September 9. I'm going to post that announcement on Blackboard. All right. Take care.
Take care.